So I'm out here standing in the Badlands of Grasslands National Park. This is an absolutely wild and rugged landscape. And if you know anything about me, I absolutely love grass. So there ain't nobody better to show you Grasslands National Park. And with that being said, let's go. Okay, welcome back to the channel. I'm currently out here van camping in Grasslands National Park in Saskatchewan, East Block. It is pretty windy here, so I've had to resort to a man bun. So let me know if you like it in the comments. And you will not hurt my feelings. I promise you that. Anyways, we're out here camping, and in the spirit of full disclosure, I was going to start this video this morning. I was going to wake up early and do a hike, because they tell you not to hike in the afternoon here because it's supposedly hot, and there's essentially zero shade. Those trees down by the information center are the only ones that I have seen in this park, I do believe. And yeah, so now I'm starting this in the afternoon. So what we're gonna go do is we're gonna go drive and hike on the Grasslands Parkway. And if you come here, this is the Grasslands National Park Trail Guide. It's the information they gave me when I came here, because as always, I did not do a lot of research before I came here. I just showed up. But we are in East Block, and if you open up East Block, this gives you all the trails. Here we are, we're at the Rock Creek Campground right here. And if you go up here, this is actually backwards, but if you go up here, we're gonna go to Crackerjack, Zahki Point, all these little lookouts. It's an 11K paved parkway that goes up into the grasslands. And I did drive the road yesterday. It's actually very nice. And it would be nice to ride a bike on. But because I think I'm gonna further explore some of these points today, I don't wanna ride my bike as the adventure. I would like to hike down to be the adventure. So with that being said, if you follow up there, up this hill up here, when you get to the top, you turn right, and that is the Grasslands Parkway. So that's where we're headed. But first, this is the campsite. Again, not a tree in sight. So interesting place. But with that being said, we're gonna go see even more interesting things on the Grasslands Parkway. Let's go. As I get ready to head out onto the Grasslands Parkway, I want to talk more about Grasslands National Park. Established in 1981, Grasslands National Park is divided into two different sections, the East Block and the West Block. Those two blocks are separated by some 150 kilometers of road, and those roads were about as Saskatchewan as it gets. The southern part of Saskatchewan is very rural, and coming all the way down to Grasslands National Park made me feel like I was way out there. The sheer vastness and open spaces, rolling hills, was a sight to behold, and coming here felt like a true trip back in time. Oh yeah. Okay, we are at the gateway to the Grasslands. This is the first stop on the parkway, and personally I love gateways. So, we got a sign here with some anti-bird stuff. There's some information somewhere that I read, maybe on this board here, that tell you why they have the bird stuff up, but I'm not exactly sure why, but obviously it's to prevent some sort of bird. Anyways, this does not matter. Let's go explore the gateway to the Grasslands. If you look, trail through some grass, the red chairs, the famous Parks Canada red chairs are up there. So I think I'm gonna grab my backpack with my binos. Okay, now we are adventure ready. You always gotta be prepared. Well, for the record, I didn't really need to be prepared. In fact, I didn't use anything from that backpack. The gateway was just a short walk to the viewpoint, a viewpoint that will give us our first expansive view of the trip. And it gives us a little taste of what's to come in the Badlands of Grasslands National Park. Each one of these stops is just information about whatever. That one is just talking about why the grasslands are so interesting. which I would have to agree. Some people, it's not for everyone because there's no beautiful mountains or beautiful lakes and rivers, but it's just such a huge barren landscape. It is just, honestly, it's pretty fascinating and very impressive. And I don't know how well you're gonna be able to hear, if you can just hear wind or me, but you can hear like crickets chirping, and it's quite loud. And it's just impressive that the crickets or whatever it can be so loud. Anyways, I am at the viewpoint now, so I will let you see the view. It's just very impressive because you can just see so far out in the distance. It's just so big and vast and grassy, I guess. Anyway, interesting to note. I don't know how you'll be able to see it, but that's the campsite down there. We have barely gone anywhere and it looks already so tiny. But anyways, I have exhausted what I'm going to do with this. Also, you could look through there. I'm not going to. But I've exhausted everything I'm going to do at this gateway to the grasslands, as it is only a gateway. So we're gonna go further. I think the next point is more interesting, but I will consult with my map. But anyways, on to the next one.
So not only was that the gateway to the grasslands, it was a gateway back in time. Way back in time. The geology of the Badlands here offers a super unique view into 80 million years worth of history. And that's something we're about to explore on our next stop of the Parkway.
Okay, we are at Crackerjack, and I have been led to believe that there's potential to see fossils down at the bottom of this. I believe they run some sort of guided hike program where you see the fossils, but not on the day that I'm here, which is, I don't know, I think it's a Thursday, but it could be Friday. Anyways, the lady said that they were running one on Monday, but I have the potential to find them on my own, so that's what I'm planning on doing. I'm gonna get over to this point here where this older couple is, and then we're gonna head down into the Badlands themselves, and I am excited to do that.
The unique geographical formations of the Badlands make this spot one of the richest deposits of dinosaur fossils in Canada, including the first ever dinosaur remains found in Canada in 1874.
She's a little timid.
So that's why she just barks to be brave. Okay, Gracie.
Well, there we go. Just chatting with another friendly Saskatchewaner. But anyways, I am going down into Crackerjack. And there's a pretty well-defined trail down here. But they do note, when you're in here, in this park, to like definitely pay attention on where you're going, because everything kind of looks similar and it can be disorientating. So I actually got my GPS running just so I know where I am. And I do think if this was wet, this would be very slippery. But anyways, I am down in the Badlands and I am going to see if I can find some fossils. But actually, there's something neat. Some sort of cactus. Yeah. This is pretty rad. But anyways, another cactus. I'm looking for some fossils.
The Badlands here are one of the few places in the world where the Cretaceous Paleogene, or KPG boundary, can be seen. The KPG boundary is a thin, chalky layer of clay that is rich in iridium, an extraterrestrial mineral that lies beneath the soil and marks the end of the Cretaceous period, i.e., the time of dinosaurs. This layer is exposed here due to the unique geographical landscape features of the Badlands and the untouched nature of Grasslands National Park, leaving this as one of the best places to study the KPG boundary in all of North America.
Just the way this thing is sitting here makes it seem like it's a thing. It's just sitting on top of the mud. But I'll be honest, I think it is just a rock. But I feel like it might be a thing. So maybe I should have taken a guided tour.
I definitely should have taken a guided tour because my next fossil was poop. From there, I continue with my exploration of Crackerjack while looking for my prize. Ultimately, that prize was never to come. I can't say that I was disappointed though, because coming down here and walking through history was absolutely worth it in itself. And it's not just the history here that's striking. I just cannot get over the sound of silence.
The sounds of the grasslands here are absolutely wild. I don't know how well it'll translate to camera, but this is crazy. It's not even quiet. There's nothing around, but it's not quiet at all. Just crazy.
With the ultimate freedom to roam, I did the only logical thing I could think of, and that is to climb on top of one of these mounds for an even better view.
Well, it is absolutely awesome to be down right here in the Badlands. I have given up on the fact that I'm going to find a fossil. I obviously have no idea what I'm looking at, and this area is just so big, so vast, and there's no way I'm going to find something. It doesn't make any sense. So I've given up on that dream. Cool spot, but with that being said, I'm going to head back up to the van. So I'm just going to meet you in the van, and we'll be on to the next one.
The next stop is going to be Zahki Point. Zahki Point is named after Joe and Solomina Zahki, who homesteaded here in 1912. Them and their 4 kids lived here in a sod house. So with that in mind, let's go and check it out for ourselves.
Okay, we are officially at Zahki Point. You can see we are getting more out there. And if you look behind the van, we got a better, more expansive view of the Badlands. Whatever direction we're heading, northeast, south, west, I have no idea. It's just getting further and further out into the Badlands. And we're at Zahki Point, and you can see up there, there's a couple of the famous national park red chairs, and that'll be the viewpoint. So let's go check it out.
On my walk out to Zahki Point, I ended up stumbling upon something that made me realize that Joe and Samalina were not the only ones that once had a home here.
So I just found something that I think is interesting. It is a teepee ring. I'll be honest, I never would have even noticed it, except the lady that I was working at the front desk, or whatever you call the information center. She actually showed me a picture of this and told me what it was. But if you look, you can see the rocks going around and out into the grass there, and they come around. And that is a teepee ring. So at one point back in the day, there was somebody camped here in a teepee for who knows how long. I don't know. Maybe they were just stopping through. Maybe they lived here for quite a long time. Who really knows? But literally this spot right here, there was a teepee. And as per the pamphlet, there are over 20,000 teepee rings that they've already found and documented in this park, which is an absolutely wild number when you think about it. But I guess that's the reality. People have lived here for thousands of generations, and for a long time they used teepees with teepee rings. So with that being said, that is awesome, but we're getting pretty close to the top.
So as I close in on Zahki Point, I take a moment to imagine living here on the edge. Now that's a thought that'll make you want to sit down and change your perspective. I guess the van life ain't that bad. After my little break at Zahki Point, I'm back in the van and headed further south. I'm only about 5 or so kilometers from the US border here, and this plateau that I'm driving on stretches all the way into Montana. And this plateau would have been the home to many First Nation cultures that predate either country. which is something we will get into more at the next stop.
Okay, we are at Capessawin. I'll show you the sign so you can judge my mispronunciations. Capessawin? I don't know what the little hat, oh, that's supposed to make the E sound, but I'm going with Capessawin. Anyways, let's go check it out.
Capessawin is the Cree word for campsite, and this stop was dedicated to explaining how the First Nations lived here for generations all along the ridge. I didn't stay long, but I admired the view, and then it was back to the van. After my stop at the campsite, I only had 2 stops remaining, and I now had more information on what to look out for on my next trip down into the Badlands. Burned and fire-cracked rocks from fire pits, and maybe even some pottery bits. Anyways, let's go see what we can find.
Okay, we are on to the next one. We have found Mauvais Terrace. Mauvais Terrace. Sounds kind of exotic, but I'm sure it's nice. All these points have had actually pretty spectacular views, and just driving up this parkway and checking everyone out is, like, in my opinion, totally worth it. Whether you go down and explore more or not, definitely worth taking the photos for the gram. Follow me on Instagram at Sarjink. Anyways, let's go check out Mauvais Terrace. Well, I've come to a bit of a fork in the road, and instead of going up to the viewpoint, I'm going to take this lower one down and see if it doesn't get lower into the valley. Might loop back, not really sure, but I think it's worth checking out.
As I descend into Mauvais Terrace, I spot something truly unique here. Trees.
So I'm just down over by these trees. I don't want to get too close and like rifle around in there, because if I was an animal, that's where I would like to hide. There is no shade out here, except probably in those trees. So like I said, I don't want to get too close, but I'm gonna follow this sort of trail down here and try to get onto that big mound over there. That's the plan.
Much like at Crackerjack, with the freedom to roam absolutely anywhere, the only logical thing to do is to climb up the tallest, coolest looking thing you can find. And this just might be the coolest looking formation that I've seen all day.
So if you look here, you have like burnt looking rock that's been split. Like, is that split by fire? Is that an ancient fire pit right there? Like, I don't know, or it could just be a burnt, broken rock. But according to like the other sign, it's talking about the ancient fire pits with broken rock. So it's like, I think that's what some of this stuff might be. Old broken rock from fires, from people, either settlers or from the indigenous people, from who knows how long ago. Anyways, we are pretty close to this big old mound. I feel like this is the, whatever this place was called, the terrace. I kind of feel like that's probably what this is referring to. I do not know as a fact, but it is pretty sweet.
So that definitely was not the Mauvais Terrace. The Mauvais Terrace is not a specific thing. It is the French-Canadian word for Badlands, originating from French fur traders who were probably inspired by the Lakota people and their word Makosika, meaning bad land or eroded land. But in any language, this is land you don't really want to spend a lot of time in. Hot, dry, sparse, harsh, unforgiving, and seemingly endless. These Badlands here just never stop amazing me.
I see, is that a fire pit? Or just a bunch of rocks? Well, there we go. 360-degree views of the Badlands from on top of my mound. Just absolutely beautiful. It's crazy, just so big, so vast, and so much grass. Anyways, actually, I'm gonna go down there and check out those rocks. Those look interesting to me. Gonna head down here around there. I was just gonna wrap it up here, but I think I'm gonna go see what those are. So I guess I'll get a move on. Well, as I was heading down to go check out those rocks from my point up here, I found these bones right here. I'm pretty confident that's 3 vertebrae from something. I assume that it's not a human, and it's probably not an ancient artifact, but still nonetheless cool. When you're in the Badlands, it's pretty badass to see bones, dead bones. So yeah, I think that put another one on the checklist. That's pretty sweet. Anyways, I'm gonna go continue on and go see what those rocks were up to, or see what they were.
With my imagination running wild, I head off in search of the rocks that caught my eye. In my mind, I'm about to discover the remnants of an ancient structure, but in reality, they are probably just rocks. But a guy can dream, can't he? That's the beauty of a place like this. There's just so much room here for you to make your own fun and discover whatever you can discover.
Well, now that I'm closer, I do think they are just rocks, but it's interesting, you know, a landscape with not that many rocks. Why are there so many rocks right here? But I do think it's interesting, this coloring of whatever moss or lichen or whatever the heck it is growing on it. I've seen it on quite a few rocks. Pretty interesting, but let's get up on top of here. Yeah, just every view is insane. But anyways, I think that does it for this Mauvaise Terrace. And with that being said, I'm just gonna head back and I'll see you at the van on to the next stop, which I believe is the last stop. Let's go.
As I head off in search of my last stop, I just want to acknowledge how awesome my experience has been here at Grasslands National Park. I had no idea what to expect when I came here, but it's been absolutely worth the trek. Now let's get out and end this thing proper.
We are at the last stop. There's the sign. Ta Santa Watoga, 350 meters. And let's go check it out.
Those 4 cars in the parking lot make this the busiest place I've seen all day. And it makes me feel pretty optimistic of the saying that you save the best for last. With the sun inching ever closer to sunset and another expansive Badlands view to admire, the set and setting here is ripe for a great story to be told.
So that's pretty interesting. This is where I guess some of the tribes hung out after the Battle of the Little Bighorn down in the States. They fled north and they took refuge, I guess you'd say, in this valley here. So it's a pretty interesting place to go.
Well, there you go. Right as I was going to tell you the story, my camera died, and the rest of my footage from this trip looked like this. It's a shame because I cooked a nice sunset dinner and then a hike to the Valley of 1,000 Devils in the morning. But at least I do have some 360-degree camera footage to finish telling the story of Ta Santa Watoga. Ta Santa Watoga means wild thunder horses in the Lakota language, and I can only assume it's in reference to the herds of wild thundering horses used by the Lakota people that roamed this area years before. This spot is the place where Sitting Bull and 5,000 Lakota Sioux sought refuge after the Battle of Little Bighorn, a famous battle in American history and Custer's last stand. After that, those 5,000 strong Lakota Sioux fled north over the border, or medicine line, which I can only assume is an ode to our medical system, for safety. They camped here and along some other waterways housed here in Grasslands National Park. This is truly a special place, and coming here led me to have what I can only describe as a spiritual moment. An amazing moment in an amazing place, and I am so thankful to have been able to walk through history in another great Canadian landscape. Peace.